Hey everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. I am still having problems for whatever reason. I thought I maybe had it sorted out this today. I'm still having issues going live in my Facebook group. So I need to figure that out. I'm going to reboot my computer and see if I can get it going tomorrow. But I will post it to my Facebook group. So if you're watching this on the replay, thanks for joining in and apologies for not being able to go live. But one thing is, if you go to my YouTube channel, so you can search Stamping with Melva or go on my blog at stampingwithmelva.com, you'll find the link to my YouTube channel. And if you subscribe there, I seem to have no issues going live on YouTube. So if you subscribe, you'll be notified when I do go live, and you won't miss it. But anyway, I will reboot my computer and see if that solves the problem for tomorrow. But today I want to share some heat embossing technique. I love to do heat embossing, and I also love to do emboss resist. There is a new suite. I'm only using part of it today. I'm actually just using the bundle, the ribbon, and the embellishments from the Textured Notes suite. I think that's what it's called. This is a new online exclusive that's coming out in March that you can get your hands on. It's really fun. It's kind of eclectic. It's got some stems and it's got some different patterns. There are two different packages of designer series paper. One is all black and white, which is absolutely gorgeous, and then the other is all kind of woven textures. In fact, I think it's called Woven Textures Designer Series paper. I'm not using it today. I'm not using any designer series paper. I'm just going to use the bundle, the embellishments, and the ribbon, and then do some embossed resist. And so hopefully you'll enjoy that. It's kind of fun to make your own designer series paper, and embossed resist is fun. And these new dies in this Textured Notes suite are all rectangles with different patterns on them, and they are absolutely gorgeous. All right, let me switch over to my desktop and we'll get started. Hopefully you can see that. The light's on. Checking. I'm getting, just make sure. If you are joining me, whether it's from YouTube or my Facebook group, give me the thumbs up that you can hear me, where you're coming from. Just let me know you're there. All right, so this is the bundle called Textured Notes. Like I said, it's pretty eclectic. This woven kind of basket top, some great sentiments in a script font, and then some stems, and again, some more weaving. These are really fun to use when you're doing embossed resist or collage techniques. And then look at these gorgeous rectangle dies. All different, well, actually not all different. There are two of this pattern, different sizes, and so they make great for frames. And I'm using just one of them today to create a rectangle on my card. Love these. They're gonna become a staple, I know that. All right, what else is in this? These are the neutral matte dots. So those are the embellishments in black, white, cream, and look like pecan pie. And then the ribbon, which I haven't even opened yet. Just got my order last week. So this is the first I've played with this suite. Oops. Can't get the plastic off. Try not to kind of cut into my ribbon or actually kind of rip it. There we go. Oh, it's not wanting to behave. So this is 1/4 inch white ribbon with a lovely texture to it. I'm not sure you can actually see that. There you go. You might be able to see that texture. So it's really pretty white ribbon. It's nice and soft, and I think it'll tie a nice bow. Okay, so let's get started. I have done some cutting. So was inspired by the black and white of the designer series paper, which I'm not using. And I love to put a pop of red or a pop of some bright color with black and white. So I am going to, I've got a piece of basic black cardstock that I've cut 4 1/4 by 11. So we'll score that at 5 1/2. And there it is. My bone folder went missing. Okay, so burnish that with your bone folder. I folded into the mountain or the raised line as always. Okay, so that's that. Then I cut. So I kind of was, I started out with different sizes of these three, but the rectangles are a little bit taller and skinnier than we're used to, probably because they actually fit a little better with the metric size paper, which not always, which is for those in the world that use metric paper. I know you understand this. Sometimes the dies aren't really geared for your paper. So this time they are. And so I cut my basic white using this gorgeous, look at that pattern on the edge. And then I cut my paper. I measured what this size was, and then I cut a piece of basic black 1/8 of an inch wider around, and then I cut a piece of real red 1/8 of an inch wider than that. So I get this kind of double matted with black and real red that's going to go on, and you'll see that you have a little bit more of the card base showing on the left and right than you do on the top and bottom. And that's okay. It's kind of just a different look for us in North America, and I'm okay with that. All right, so let's do some heat embossing and some emboss resist. So emboss resist is a technique where you stamp some images on your card base or your piece of cardstock using Versamark, and then you heat emboss it with, so I'm using some white embossing powder. Need a bigger one. And I like to kind of switch up the patterns I'm using. Oops. Haven't even got the labels on mine. So there we go. Okay, so we're gonna start with this bigger stem. Let's see if you can see that. There we go. You're not gonna be able to see me stamp because this is Versamark. The first thing I want to do is take my embossing buddy and just run it over top of my cardstock, so I get rid of those fingerprints and any static. And we're just going to stamp on and off. This isn't huge, so I'm only going to stamp 2 of these images. And then I'm going to go and stamp with this other one. Again, trying not to overlap too much, if at all. There we go. All right, so I've stamped with my Versamark, and now I'm going to bring in my white embossing powder. And like I said the other day when I used this is still the old embossing powder. I have so much of it. The new Wow embossing powder that Stampin' Up! Sells now, I think melts a little faster than the old this one, but it works great, and so I'm just kind of using this up. All right, so I don't know, maybe you can kind of see, there we go. You can see where I stamped in Versamark, and I have the embossing powder over. Now I'm going to put that just to the side, and while I've still got my Versamark and my embossing powder out, I have a piece of basic black that I cut out. So this is 1 inch by 2 inches, and so I'm just going to run my embossing buddy over that, and I'm going to heat emboss this for the sentiment. And I may end up cutting this out because I actually got it pretty straight. It's hard to see. I didn't put the label on it, so note to self, put the label on. Oh, and I made a mess of that. So we're just going to take and turn it over. 2 sides to our cardstock. So I'm going to take and try and stamp it as straight as I had it the first time. This may not be. Okay, definitely think I'm cutting this out because I've got some lines. So that's what happens. Oops, there we go. You see my line. I can try and take that line off with the brush. But sometimes when you press hard, you get that extra kind of shadow around your image. And that's what I did here. So There we go. Okay, I got that off. Okay. And then I took some of the embossing powder off. You do them a little bit of time, which is really cool with this. Sometimes you think that, oh my gosh, it's Versamark, I have to be so quick with it. But you do have a little bit of time. The Versamark does take a little bit of time to dry. So I use my finger to flick. There we go. That's better. All right, so let's bring in my heat tool. And there we are. These are the great tweezers that go with the Embossing Editions kit. I love them. So we'll just hang on to that. This heat tool can get quite hot. So we're just going to hold it over my image until you see it go from that kind of dull matte finish to shiny, a glossy finish. And I don't know if I do this from below, if you can see it. No, that's not going to work any better. Can't get it underneath. So hold it in one spot, and you will see it go quite bright white, and you can then start moving it along until you get this nice embossed image. So that's the sentiment. So now I'm going to just take this one I don't have to really hang on to. I just kind of got it weighted with the tweezers, and I'm just holding it, again, holding my heat tool over top of it until you see it go shiny. And being white on white, you really do have to look for that shininess, because if it's still dull matte, it's not melted. It's half-baked, and you don't want half-baked. So I'm just kind of moving that. I've got some sections here. There we go. Once it starts to melt, it really does melt quickly. Just one big image. And I'm just turning it so I can kind of see the shininess from my side to see. There we go. I think I've got it all done. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. All right. So hopefully, can you see? There we go. You can see the embossed. There we go. And you can see the shininess to it. Okay, with Emboss Resist, I'm going to put my sentiment off to the side. I have an embossing or a blending brush, and I pulled out crumb cake. So I'm going to just take, and let's go out a little bit. There we go. I'm just going to take and keep my blending brush open. And, okay, I don't have any. So we'll start. So pick up some ink with your blending brush. I kind of tap off, and I start off of my paper. Otherwise, you kind of get dark splodges. And I always think that Emboss Resist is kind of magical, because all of a sudden these images that you stamped in and then did the embossing on kind of just pop, which is really cool. So it's going to be a bit of a vintagey card, even though it's black and red. But I decided that the crumb cake kind of goes with the theme that it is with the neutral embellishments. And you can go over and make it as dark as you want. I've got some kind of darker corners or darker edges, and so I'm just kind of going over those edges. But you can see now I've got this really pretty kind of background with it. So I'm going to take, this is that smaller stem that I used, and I'm going to take, and I want to stamp off. So I've got a scrap piece of paper that came in a package that I'm going to use. So I'm going to stamp off, because I want this to be just kind of, and I'm doing kind of a collage. I'm going over top. You can use different colors. Sometimes with crumb cake, I've used Pool Party, which looks really cool. And then I've really like this die or stamp. It looks like the top of a basket, kind of woven texture. Now this one, I am going to make sure I stamp off and stamp off again, because I really just want just a little bit, and maybe that's a little bit too much. So let's just try stamping off once. Okay, there we go. Got some texture up there that I'm not sure you can even see. Let's try that again over top. So you can kind of maybe see the little round mark there. Just adding just a little background to my card base. So now I've got a background, and that is Emboss. It's so much fun to do. You can make some really cool backgrounds. So like I said, this is feels quite vintagey with the crumb cake. So I'm going to take glue. Sometimes I leave my lids open and my glue sticks. I get a clog in my glue. So let's see if we can unclog this glue. I am really bad about, so I usually just take my piercing tool, or you can take a pin and just try and pull that clog out. Yeah, there we go. I'm really bad about putting my lid back on my glue. So sometimes when you heat emboss, your cardstock will warp a little bit. If you find it's really warped, maybe use Terran tape. I think I'm going to turn this the other way. So this going on that first layer. That's going to be my bottom. And then this will go on to the real red. So you're just getting a peekaboo of the black and then the real red on this piece. Like that. And I just realized, it's been a long day already. Diane and I are doing a BOGO sale, and I just realized I'm on an hour earlier than I'm supposed to be, because I'm so confused about the time since I've been up so early, and so that's probably why. Hey Cynthia, yep, yeah. So I'm here much earlier than I should be, but yeah, hopefully you'll watch on the replay. All right, so I'm just going to take and tie a bow, and I'm going to use my tweezers to hold that in place, and I always turn my bow upside down so that I can keep my tails going the way I want them. If you're good at tying bows without using tweezers or a glue dot to kind of hold them in place, that's great. That's not me. I need some help. Some days more than others. All right, there we go. And I'm going to just pull that so I don't completely pull it out. And you can take your tweezers out and kind of fuss with your bow. So this is just going to be a little bow. There we go. And we'll take and I'm going to just cut those. All right. And now this can go on. And so often when I have ribbon, this one's tied, not such a problem, but when I use ribbon, I use Stamp and Seal. It just holds that ribbon in place, and I go right over top of my ribbon with the Stamp and Seal. And again, this is just going to go in the middle like that. And now we've got our sentiment. I think I'm going to cut it out because it's kind of got some mess around it from some of the splatter of the embossing powder, and so you can just kind of cut around it. The embossing buddy helps get rid of that, and so kind of prevents it, but I had turned mine over because I didn't stamp very well the first time, and so we're just going to take and put some. Okay, I've got some mini dimensionals here that'll work. even the backings have come off of these, so it's probably just as well I'm using those up. They've still got stickiness to them. All right, I'm going to put one more on because I don't know how long the backing has been off of some of these. Clearly they got cut up, so we're just going to take and put that right there. Like that. And then let's take and put some of these pretty neutral matte embellishments. And I'm going to use the black ones because I think they'll be quite striking here. 2 sizes, 4 color, or 3, yeah, 4 colors. There we go. Okay, so that's the front of my card. Oopsie, kind of see. Let's go. And now we need to do the inside. So I'm just going to take and stamp using crumb cake, but before I do that, I'm going to, oops, do this. I'm going to just do a little bit of blending just here in the bottom corner, just to kind of make the front of the card looks kind of like the inside, or the inside of the card look like the front. And then I'm just going to take and stamp that in that corner. Right, and so this can go on the inside of the card. All right, there we go. So that's the card. Again, this is called textured notes. I need to think about this because it's brand new. Like I said, it will be textured notes bundle with these gorgeous rectangle dies. And so these will be available in the online exclusives starting in March for you. But so that's a sneak peek of the new online exclusives coming. All right, everybody. So apologies to those that usually jump on when I say I'm going live, which I said I was going live at 11, and here I am, went live at 10. So apologies to everyone who may be coming on looking for me at 11 o'clock. Yeah, and apologies for those that follow me on Facebook. Hopefully you'll watch this on the replay when I share the video. And we'll get this sorted out